big part of what's going on in a negative way, not
Absolutely.
intentionally, not knowingly, but it's like sometimes you need to just shut your mouth and listen and
Yeah.
stop being judgmental or dictatorial. The guys that end up coming to Camp Hope, they're typically at the place where they're going to die, they're going to go to jail, or they're going to come to us. It's gotten down to that's really the only three things that are a viable option at the time.
But yeah, what you said there is when people don't trust the process at first because they're skeptical of it, because it's like, look, I've been dealing with this so long, I can't trust it. It's been causing so many issues. And I've sat down with a couple guys and they've said that it doesn't, like, what you did, you can't do it. And it's just like, no, you can. It's just, I tell them, like, look, embrace the suck and keep going. Why is it? Because if you stay stagnant and stay in this, you're not going to build anything good. Like your family life, your work life, everything, just even your personal life by itself is just not going to work. It's going to implode somewhere. And so you need to learn to embrace the suck. It's going to, we don't like doing it. I don't like doing it either, but I
Mm-mm.
know I have to do it to get to where I want to go. If I want to be better, if I want to make sure I can take care of people still, if I want to make sure I'm building up anything, or even taking care of my dog, it's simple. Like something will always implode if you don't take care of it and do it
Mm-hmm.
what you need to do. Welcome back to Join the Rate podcast. Today I have me David Maulsby, but before we get to him, we're going to take a time to say join the movement. This year, I'm proud to partake in the podcast-thon. Come on, buddy. On the world's largest charity podcast event. I'll be dedicating this episode of Join the Raid podcast to support the charity and cause that I have selected this year, and that is the PTSD Foundation of America, specifically Camp Hope. Today, I'll be speaking with David Maulsby, the Executive Director of Support and Giving for the PTSD Foundation of America. Camp Hope is a place that exists to support veterans and their families who are battling with invisible wounds of war. This episode is personal for me, as I'm a Navy veteran of combat deployments. I've experienced homelessness. I've lived with PTSD for many years. I've had moments where the darkness felt so heavy that I didn't know if I was going to make it through. So this struggle is not something that I take lightly anytime, and want to put light on ways to help other veterans that don't know which way to go or if they need a helping hand. But yeah, further ado, this is David Maulsby. David, how are you doing today?
Complaints here, all is well. Hope everything's good with you.
Everything's going fantastic. So, David, you're the Executive Director of Support and Giving, and you've been doing this, you've been helping veterans, from what I've read from your bio sheet and everything like that, was since 2009?
That's correct, 2009.
Okay. And for me, somebody choosing to do that, are you a veteran yourself?
I'm one of the few civilians around there.
Okay.
Yeah, so I kind of helped get the whole thing started, and then as we started helping vets, let them turn around, and that's the whole peer-to-peer model. So I kind of, here's what you need to be doing, guys.
Okay.
Let them do it, because they can do it better than I can.
Okay. So you aren't a veteran yourself, you're a civilian. What actually called you to start helping out veterans?
In 2009, if you think back to that time frame. By the way, when were you in the Navy, bud? Just curious.
08 to 18.
Yeah. So you go back to that time frame, obviously we were still very heavily involved in what was going on, known as global war on terrorism. Became aware of what was happening here in Houston, and then a snippet of what was going on nationally with PTSD. And if you had heard the term PTSD back in 2009, most people had never even heard the term, and they sure didn't know what it was all about. But I came across the fact that here in Houston, you mentioned you were homeless for a while. The story here was 1 out of every 3 adult homeless persons in Houston was a military veteran. Then the other stat I heard dealt with suicide in our military community. And at the time, I think at that time, they were saying it was 14 a day. That number's fluctuated around according to the VA, but just hearing what was going on. And frankly, I'd been serving as a pastor of a church and doing things, supposed to be doing, growing, building buildings and all that. That wasn't what I wanted to do. I mean, it was fun for a while, but I wanted to get my hands dirty. It's the only way I knew to describe it.
You want to actually make an
across.
impact and help.
I started sitting in, board meetings trying to figure out what color the carpet was going to be. Like, I don't care what color the carpet's going to be. I do not care. Y'all pick something. But yeah, just what was going on is, man, this is perhaps my best chance to do this for a while, and that's what launched me into what we're doing today.
Okay, that's awesome. That's an awesome way to do that. So that all basically led up to where you are now. So what inspired
Quite the journey, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I believe it. I still help other people a lot with things they deal with, trauma and everything like that. Sometimes daily, sometimes every once in a while when they need it. But it's just one of those things where, you always hold the rope because you never know. In even those strongest that you look at that are happiest, everything, they're always dealing with something, and you gotta. It's always that be present is the biggest thing.
Agree completely.
So Camp Hope itself, its creation. Were you there when it started? Was created?
Yeah. So the foundation, PTSD Foundation of America, we kind of launched what is our DNA, and that's the whole peer-to-peer thing. And so again, me being a civilian, it took a little while to get that thing up and off the ground. Once we started, it was going downtown, meeting veterans, going to veteran related events around the Houston area, just looking for the guys kind of on the outskirts who looks like they're struggling, who looks like they're really anxious, and just try to strike up a conversation with them. Then some one-on-ones with them. Hey, let's have coffee one day, and just kind of start to build that rapport and that relationship. Then with that, as we started helping guys, then we formed our first support groups, warrior support groups. And we knew very quickly we were going to need to do something because a lot of the guys we were meeting were either homeless or, we knew we needed to do something. So in 2012, we launched what is known as Camp Hope. It was nothing then like it is today, but it was our place where we could bring guys and not just see them once a week. They actually lived there, and we had staff there, and we could start doing some much more intensive work on their mental health situation, as well as, once you start doing that, it turns into everything in every aspect of their life. So that all began in 2012, and it was, I'll just tell you, it was very primitive.
Yeah.
It was not a lot more than just a safe place for these guys, drug free, all that kind of stuff. But now it's a behemoth, and it's got a lot of staff and a lot of moving parts to make Camp Hope work today.
Okay, that's awesome. It's just like because I've only read a little bit about it. I wanted to go there, and I was like, I want to go check it out once and just see how it is.
You've got to come see it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna plan to. I think maybe like I think I'll get up with Lauren and see if there's a way we can make that work in like the next week or so, and then see if how it is as well. Because I'm all about it. I'd rather be able to help than just not be able to do as much. Because it's always like you said earlier, like I kind of want to get my hands dirty and like actually do more and make it more of an impact. But yeah,
I'd love for you to see it.
oh yeah. So what does a typical day look like for everyone in Camp Hope? Actually, like who go through it.
So currently, I believe we have 83 combat vets living there. Guys in our program are, we bring guys in from every military branch. We bring them in from all across the country. Typically, we've got about half of that are from Texas, and half of that are from the Houston area. But
Okay.
the other half are all from just wherever across the country.
Okay, so it's not just locally, just only Houston, Texas residents. It's actually any vet that actually has the will and wants to actually get the help can come.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah, one of the things I want to throw out there real quick, just to make sure everybody knows, everything we do is at zero cost to the veteran and their family. They're not charged for anything. They live in New York. We buy the airplane ticket. We fly them in when they're done with the program. We buy the ticket and fly them home.
Okay.
Yeah, it costs them nothing. We take care of everything while they're with us. We do everything we can to support their family. If that's still a possibility, sometimes that bridge has been burnt, but we'll do everything we can. But a day starts roughly 7:00 in the morning we do morning check-ins. So we'll just think of any kind of check-in. That's what's going on at 7. And then we have classes and groups that take place throughout the course of the day. And there's break times in between because there's Some classes are kind of, typical that you might think of, just emotional regulation, anger management, and stuff like that. But there's also a lot of classes that run pretty deep into PTSD and what's going on, what transpired in the brain and the rewiring of the brain through PTSD. And then, you can't unwire it. So,
Yeah.
how do you learn the coping skills and all those kinds of things? And you're dealing with all the aftermath. So it's very intensive. It
Yeah.
runs until about 6 o'clock in the evening, where we have AA groups or NA groups, or we have warrior groups that run in the evening. And again, there's break time because there's a lot of processing they're going to have to do. There's a lot of writing that they're doing. They're doing a lot of journaling while they're with us. So they need the downtime. And that's where the whole peer-to-peer thing comes in, because somebody gets wound up about this, that, or the other they didn't want to have to tell anybody about, and now they are. So there's other guys, yeah, we went through it too. We didn't like it either, but
Yeah.
now we're on the other side, and here's what it's meant to us. And it can mean that to you too, if you just trust the process. So there's a lot of that that goes on the course of the day. And then there's everything else, because it's not just mental health. A lot of the guys come to us, Army Rangers or whoever, they've been jumping out of airplanes. They got bad backs, bad knees, bad whatever, other physical issues. Sometimes, particularly the guys that were coming to us 2012, 2016, 17, many of them 20 to 35 prescribed medications from the VA. And just, you don't have to be a doctor to know that does a toll on all of your vital organs. So
Yes, it
there's a lot
does.
of medical stuff. So
Yeah.
we're taking guys to the VA for medical appointments. Sometimes we're taking them to meet with their parole officers or whatever they have to do. So there's a lot that happens in the course of the day, but a lot of classes and a lot of homework.
Okay.
And of course we feed
That's,
them.
yeah.
we
Yeah.
feed
You
them.
feed them too.
There's that too. And
That's
we've got a
good.
great chef. He's an Army vet, combat deployments, but he's a chef. I mean, he's a legit chef, and he does a fantastic job taking care of our guys.
That's cool. That's awesome. But yeah, what you said there is when people don't trust the process at first because they're skeptical of it, because it's like, look, I've been dealing with this so long, I can't trust it. It's been causing so many issues. And I've sat down with a couple guys and they've said that it doesn't, like what you did, you can't do it. And it's just like, no, you can. It's just, I tell them, like, look, embrace the suck and keep going. Why is it? Because if you stay stagnant and stay in this, you're not going to build anything good. Like your family life, your work life, everything, just even your personal life by itself is just not going to work. It's going to implode somewhere. And so you need to learn to embrace the suck. We don't like doing it. I don't like doing it either, but I
Mm-hmm.
know I have to do it to get to where I want to go. If I want to be better, if I want to make sure I can take care of people still, if I want to make sure I'm building up anything, or even taking care of my dog, it's simple. Like something will always implode if you don't take care of it and do it
Mm-hmm.
what you need to do. And that always is a thing that people just lack to sense sometimes, because they think, oh no, if I just ignore it or avoid it, everything will get better. And that's never the case when it comes to something serious like this, like especially something that affects you day in and day out, but you just choose not to address it. So
Yeah, and typically when guys end up, and this isn't necessarily be the case for, every veteran or even every combat veteran, but the guys that end up coming to Camp Hope, they're typically at the place where they're going to die, they're going to go to jail, or they're going to come to us. It's gotten down to, that's really the only three things that are a viable option at the time. And so they're coming in. Sometimes they've been homeless. We have a guy that is now on staff with us, but he was homeless here in Houston for 6.5 years, and like legit homeless. This wasn't, couch surfing. Like, I don't even know how you survive 6.5 years like that on the streets of Houston, but he did. You come in from a situation like that, or you're coming from, some jail system, legal system across the country, psych ward at a VA, and a social worker tells you about us. You've been self-medicating for 20 years, or sometimes our Vietnam guys that have been in our program self-medicating for 5 decades. Man, it's going to take them a minute to
yeah,
get adjusted to what's happening at Camp Hope. That is very, very regimented, and there's a process. and they haven't been living like that for 50 years. So it takes a minute for them to adjust.
Yeah, that acclimation period is got to be rough. And the thing I wanted to follow up with that with is so for the staff themselves, because helping people, it takes energy, it takes a lot of care, and sometimes you get burnout itself with that. What do you do to like alleviate that burnout for them? Because helping people who actually need the help, who are dealing with such traumatic things, and like you said earlier, acclimating to that when they've been self-medicating or homeless for so long, or just been dealing with these demons so much, like how do you take care of your staff with that? Like, because it does take a lot to take care of someone else.
Oh, yeah. Well, and particularly in this case, where, as you're dealing with these guys. So, for instance, one mentor on our staff, who's a graduate of our staff and received a lot of training, becomes a mentor. They're dealing with 7 to 8 guys all day, every day. And, they're telling their story, whatever the moment of the story that the guy that they're working with is struggling with, they're telling theirs. So it's like every single day you're ripping that scab off, like every single day. But what we've been able to do now, the last few years, we've really, really strengthened our retention rate on our staff that deal with the guys day to day at Camp Hope. Very solid group of guys that we've had on staff for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is they still do the peer-to-peer amongst each other. So amongst each other as mentors, these guys, sometimes there's 3 or 4 guys in one office because we're out of space. They see each other. They see what their attitude's like in a day. They see when they're not quite the typical whoever personality. So they're on top of each other literally all day, every day. In addition to that, we have licensed clinicians on our campus. So all the guys in the program see clinicians during the week. All the staff also see clinicians during the week. Many of them go off site for
Mm-hmm.
that clinical care, but we take care of that. So that's something we do to invest in our staff
Okay.
and, try to mitigate as much of the after hour stuff from them. And we have dedicated night shift folks that take care of whatever may happen in the course of an evening. So it's just something we've kind of worked on through the years. We certainly know and understand. I was talking to one of our guys that's a mentor in training right now, and he's our MIT program. And I said, I want to remind you, first time I saw you wearing the logo, this was about a month and a half ago. First time I saw you wearing the logo and you told me you were going into the MIT program. What did I tell you? It's going to be the best job you ever have and the worst job you ever have all at the same time.
Yeah.
But for these guys in particular at camp right now, they just like, this is my new purpose. And this was actually, many of them have said this is more purposeful to me than my time in the military, and whether it's Afghanistan or, wherever around the world. This is more powerful. This is more purposeful. This is why I get up in the morning, because I get to come and do this every day. So it's something we worked on. We very much keep our eye on that because it can become an issue, and we want to do everything we can to support them and make sure they're taken care of as well.
That's wonderful. Having that purpose, it's there. I can't put into words of whenever you get that feeling, because a lot of people go through life without that, just that purpose in general. Not until either they become like parents themselves or something like that, or they build something from the ground up themselves and feel like they see it all. But yeah, that right. So having the veterans go from being there as basically, I don't want to say patients. I want to say, I don't know a better way to say it, but they go from that to coming there to get help, then transitioning over to actually I want to stay here and keep helping because it helped me. I want to help others. That says tons for that program in general and for Camp Hope overall. Because most people get help, they kind of.
I'll tell you, on our campus, when you come out to visit, you'll see this. Every veteran you come across that's in our program or now on staff, most of them have stories that are just, you wouldn't believe if you weren't walking through it with them. Talking with the guy yesterday, multiple suicide attempts before he found us and came into our program. But the guy that actually runs everything on our campus today is a fellow named Alex. And I hope you get the chance to meet him when you're out. But he's the guy that attempted suicide by cop. This was back in 2017, I believe, in Florida.
Yeah.
And his wife actually moved to Houston from Florida, but she was trying to get him to come to Camp Hope, and he kept refusing. So she moved and said, I hope some of these days you'll miss me enough that you'll come here and go to camp. Ends up attempting suicide by cop. He ends up in jail, facing multiple years in prison. Third time he stood before the judge goes, hey, Alex, I hope you know you've got an incredible wife. And Alex like, what do you know about my wife? She said, well, she's been emailing me almost every day, begging me to get you a place called Camp Hope. He said, I'm going to give you an offer you can't refuse. Instead of 10 years, you go to Camp Hope and complete the program and then finish out, 3 years, I believe it was, on parole. Will clear you of all these felony charges that came as a result of attempting suicide by cop.
Okay.
So finally, he cried uncle and came to Camp Hope, completed the program. As he was coming to the end, one of the staff guys that he tells, like, I didn't like him and he didn't like me. But he asked me, right, because I was getting ready to graduate, he's like, have you ever considered coming to work here? And he's like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Thought about it for a day. He said, I'll tell you what, you guys gave me 6 months, I'll give you 6 months. So he started back this 2017, 18 with, I'll give you 6 months. And today he actually runs everything on the campus. But, when you hear some of these stories and what these guys came from, suicide attempts, and where they're at today and see what they're able to do, you talk about purpose, man. I mean, it's just like, whew, it's about as good as it gets.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing to get to behold.
No, I believe it. I absolutely believe that. And that's a great story because it says a lot, whole lot, especially for Alex and everything he's going with. This trying suicide by cop was
by all rights, he should be dead. I mean, literally.
Yeah.
Because when he came to from this little episode he came to when he heard the door opening, and it was one of the sheriff's officers. And as he was doing it very calmly, it's like, Alex, don't move, because he had a weapon across his lap. He said, don't move, don't make us do this. And when he's opening his eyes, he's seeing about 8 or 9 weapons pointed right at his head. And any movement, would have given anyone the right and the responsibility to pull the trigger. When I say he's lucky to be alive, I mean, it's a miracle, man, lived through all that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, hopefully I do get to meet him. And yeah, so that seems like a really big breakthrough, especially from him. And you were there witnessing that every here and there, weren't you?
Oh yeah, every step along the way. And the crazy thing is, he met his wife. He was stationed in Italy before 9/11. Met her over there, and ended up being deployed right after 9/11. I mean, his unit got moved out really fast.
Okay.
After his time in the military, they tried to make a living in Italy, and it just never worked. So he moved to Florida, started a construction business, did really, really well, till his PTSD started taking over. And then it was the self-medicating, and it just spiraled. It's a super, super smart, intelligent guy. I mean, if you looked at him today, you wouldn't believe that was his story. But that's what PTSD did. And I think you kind of referred to it early on. It's, in a lot of ways, it's like cancer. Left undiagnosed and untreated, it's going to cost you. It's going to take something, including up to your life. And that's where he was at. After getting that dealt with, now you see, like, he's not just doing well, he's doing incredibly well. He's doing amazing things. And
flourishing and helping others.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I love that. So I myself have attempted suicide, and it's one of those things of why I look for things that go close to that and relate to that. a lot, because some people look at me like, you have so much more to give and live for. It's like, there's a lot that goes through your head, and what you see is not what I see most of the time. And it's, you see all the dark things that you've been done around everyone, and then sometimes that you can make it look like yourself, like you are the fucking issue around
Mhm.
every spectrum, and nobody likes to look at it like that. It's like, well, it does, because when you look at suicide a lot, tell people all the time, like, look, I can say it all day long. Everybody says it all the time. So you preach all the time. It's a selfish act, because it's to put yourself at peace to stop it. But you don't need to go that route when there's other ways to, go about it to help yourself. So you just gotta always look for another avenue, you know?
Yeah, and I always kind of push back,
Mm-hmm.
and whether it's veteran related or whoever, it doesn't really matter. Subject of suicide comes up, and I hear people talk. So, well, that was cowardly. That was selfish. That was this. That was that. And I always kind of push back. I'm like, every story is a little different, but let's think this through for a minute.
Yeah,
It's 100% diametrically opposed to our DNA. We are born fighting to live. That's who
exactly.
we are. That's what we are. So, what has happened? What has transpired in someone's life? What has happened in someone's mind, their mental capability to get to the place where they've convinced themselves the world's better off without them, their family's better off without them, you know, that there's truly no hope. And I just kind of liken it to, you know, if you have liver dysfunction or your heart, you got some sort of heart issue, don't deal with it. Again, that's not going to end well. Something's going to happen. Well, if my mental capacity, if my brain is not functioning properly or correctly, I'm not going to be able to assess a situation properly or respond to it appropriately. It's not functioning right. So I tell family members this all the time. Even if a loved one they lost to suicide writes a suicide note, you really can't trust that because
No,
they're
not
writing
at
it
all.
from a broken mind. That may be what they're sensing, what they think they're feeling at the moment, but they're writing it from deep brokenness and malfunction of the brain. They're doing something that they would otherwise not be doing if they're going. Now, there are occasions where I think, people, have chosen suicide because this has come out or that, they made the news and blah, blah, blah. They
Yeah.
want to deal with it. So I get it. But, what I've experienced in these 17 years of doing this, that's not what's happening. What I have seen is guys who have back to the old VHS days, the looping VHSs. You just got this loop going on in your brain about the trauma that happened, and you don't know how to make it stop. You've tried the medication, you've tried the self medication to make the loop stop, and trained military. You know how to make it stop. But it's not trying to take the cowardly way out. And it's not that they wake up in the morning and said, you know what, I don't want to live anymore. They wake up in the morning, well, I know how to make this stop. I've seen that happen sometimes. Think about how deep the pain has to be for someone to attempt something like that, or even to seriously contemplate it. And again, in some of our cases, guys come to us, they've attempted multiple times, and thank God they failed.
Yeah. And that with that is like one of those things that, like you said earlier, I used to think like early 2006 to 2010, I was like, yeah, it's a cowardly way out. And then it was just flipped whenever it was me. I was like, and I finally got through that path. I was like, oh, what happened? I would never do this. It doesn't make sense. And then just processing all that, I was like, all right, so there's something to this, and I need to readdress everything, every single thing. Because as many people, even close friends around me, is like, doing that way is a coward's way. I was like, yeah, and then look, I was like, yeah, but you don't know what was going through their minds. You don't know what was going on in their life. You don't know how bad it really was for them, because they didn't say anything doesn't mean nothing's bad. So
Yeah, and frankly, I think one of the things that kind of unique about our organization is while we do everything we can to help the veteran, whether it Camp Hope or through our outreach programs, we also want to help the family, because sometimes the family can be a big part of what's going on in a negative way, not
Absolutely.
intentionally, not knowingly, but it's like sometimes you need to just shut your mouth and listen
Yeah.
and stop being judgmental or dictatorial. Don't tell them that's the cowardly way out. Just, can you help me understand what you're going through? Just ask questions. Be willing to listen. Even if you don't know how to respond, fine, don't respond. Just sit and listen. But out with the judgment. That's not they're already judging themselves pretty harshly, or they wouldn't be going down this path. They don't need more
Exactly.
judgment. They need somebody to show a little bit of compassion.
Yeah. That's another thing is like I said earlier, like being present and then adding like true compassion would probably fix a lot of things sometimes, and especially for all veterans, that we can go the other way with it. We can get aggressive, we can do that, but a lot of times I think the thing that we always strive for, even though we don't say it all the time, is having that peace. And it as much as people say, oh, I'm happy or that, but are you at peace? That itself
Two
is
different things for
monumental.
sure.
100%. And that's why I look for it all the time. Like most people look at me like, well, you aren't happy. I don't need to be happy. I'm joyful. I'm getting stuff done. I'm taking care of. I'm taking care of everything I need to take care of. But I'm at peace the whole time while I'm doing this. As much as even when the stress comes, I'm still at peace. So I'm not going crazy or losing my mind right now. So it's nice. It's a nice change. Do I miss the chaos? Of course I do. But sometimes because I still deal with the chaos here and there, and I function really well with it, but it's not always what's needed, let's say.
Yeah,
And it's breaking
say the
habits. It's
least.
breaking habits. But
Indeed.
yeah, it's not a horrible habit to be able to get to use, but it's not one that fits very well in day-to-day life now.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
But
No way to live. That is not a way to live.
no, it's not.
It can
You
be
know, a
better.
couple of my friends tell me all the time said you gotta have to let the chaos go sometimes. I know I will, but it's beneficial at the moment. I'm making sure I don't go overboard. But yeah, they make a good point because like some days you're looking at me like, when's the last time you slept? Because you've been working on stuff for a while. I was like, what day is it? And they're like, there's the answer. Go take a nap. So I will take a nap after I'm done with this. And they're like, yeah. So you're a workaholic, so 100%, but it's just who
Mhm.
I am, and I'll figure a way to. I've made myself the past couple of days take a break. It's like, look, I have this interview with him. I don't have anything else to do that's actually scheduled besides like getting the questions formatted where I want it to, and that's it. And make sure y'all say it's not too much. And then I said, cool, disconnected, completely disconnected from everything, and just me, doggo, and just relax outside time. So
Awesome.
yeah, so I did what I needed to do to make sure I didn't go completely crazy.
The day is a great day to do that in Houston. It's
Oh,
gorgeous.
it's nice. It's gorgeous outside today. Yeah, I live right outside Houston, so yeah, and it's gorgeous. And like yesterday wasn't too bad either.
Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful weather. Oh, excuse me. So you told me a couple success stories from the program. What other story like has you seen actually like you're like this is going to be a really rough one to this is completely night and day. Like they come in and they're like, wow, that right there is who he really is.
Yeah. There's my mind's going to spin here for a minute. There's
Oh, you're good.
so many stories we've had almost 2,500 guys come through Camp Hope since we opened in 2012. I think we've got 83 or 84 there right now. Right this minute, we have a bit of an unusual situation. We've got two guys that are brothers, and we've had brothers there before. They're just not at the
Hmm.
same time.
Okay.
The older brother came in a month before his younger brother came in. And the story really gets weird. They both joined the Army, different reasons, but both joined the Army, both became Army medics, and then they deployed together in
Uh,
Iraq, which was like, I can't believe they did that, but they did. They They let them go. They both served their time as medics there, and both came home, lived separately, hardly ever saw each other. They were fine. They loved each other. They're brothers, but they just,
Yeah.
you go on your own path. So that's where they ended up. And then they both ended up at Camp Hope a month apart coming into the program. One, the older brother, just graduated a couple weeks ago. The other one's about 3 or 4 weeks away from graduating.
Okay.
And watching them go through that path of, the first 30 days, we call it a blackout phase. You are shut out from the world. You don't get off campus. You don't have phones. You don't have internet. We are trying to settle, right? And then they go into the bulk of the work of the program. But watching them change, because they lost two family members while in the program.
Okay.
And one was able to go home for one of the funerals, but that was it. The other one didn't get to go to either one. But I was talking to them just last week about this process
Yeah.
and what has changed, because I had interviewed them early on in the program, and now here we are at the end. I want to bring these two brothers back because it's just such an unusual story for us to have two brothers that not only both were medics, but they both served together and deployed together. It's just the weirdest thing ever. But it's like they became so close while going through the program because they were telling each other things that they never otherwise would have told each other, wouldn't have been a reason to.
Okay.
But going through the program together, it gave them that opportunity to share some things with their brother that they
Yeah.
never would have. And to watch them now, it's just to see the change in their attitude. And they're both fantastic guys, but you come in, you're broken, you're coming in legal issues. One of them would have been self-medicating for a while. There was a lot going on there. And just to see them, how they interact with each other now and how they interact on campus with other guys in the program, guests that come on to campus to tour and see what we're all about. And they're one of the first guys there if they happen to be across. Hey, man, my name's Brian. They're just really outgoing and love sharing what they have learned while at Camp Hope and what has changed in their minds and in their lives while at Camp Hope. And I was like, well, so what do you guys want to do? One, you just graduated, the other one's getting ready to graduate. What do you guys want to do? Well, we have another brother that's still in. He's stationed out in Georgia. And we're thinking about the three of us brothers buying a piece of property. Three of us live together on that property, live our life. And both of the two guys in the program are both trying to restore some relationship with their kids.
Okay.
So they're hoping to have a place where they can, when they have kids for the, a couple of weeks during the summer or whatever it is, got a place to come and have fun and enjoy each other. These guys, they're moving forward and they are so tight. It's been a lot of fun to watch that transition take place individually and the two of them as brothers. You talk about thick as thieves, man. They're tight.
And that's absolutely wonderful right there. Something that I think most people don't understand is not just because most families don't grasp that together of what we've been through. And since they both were deployed together, they both went through the program together. They both actually got to the stage where they can share everything with each other that they need to again. And now that they're just rebuilding, and it's great because in the military we have like brotherhood, camaraderie that we don't get outside ever. When
I'll tell you one more real quick. So here's another guy I hope you get to meet while you come out. We originally met him. We were running support groups at Fort Hood. This was been about 2015-ish, somewhere in there. He was in the Army, and he was bringing other people to those warrior groups. And he was like, I didn't need it, but I was bringing guys to it. And he met one of our staff. Staff member gave him his business card. Well, this guy deploys, comes home. He's got all kinds of PTSD issues. He ends up having a episode while he's got one of his kids in the back seat of his truck. He has a flashback He's on a highway in Pennsylvania, stops his truck and gets out. And what is in his mind is he's back in Afghanistan and he's securing an area. Well, a patrol officer comes up. This guy ends up disarming the patrol officer on a highway in Pennsylvania. And
Lord.
again, lived to tell the story. When he wakes up, he's handcuffed to a cot in a jail cell. No idea what to do. The only thing he had on him was his wallet. And in his wallet was that business card of the guy that he met at Fort Hood all those years earlier. So his sister reached out to us. That staff member that he had met flew to Pennsylvania, stood before the judge and advocated, hey, please let him come to Camp Hope. The judge let him do it. Came to Camp Hope, completed the program, went back, finished all the parole stuff that he needed to do to get his issues expunged, came back to work for us. Okay. He had separated from his wife, hadn't seen his son or daughter in quite some time. Well, just this past week, he bought his first house here in Houston.
Okay.
His daughter lives with him, and he and his wife are reconciling.
Okay.
And his wife and son will soon be moving to Houston, Texas, and the family's going to be completely reunited.
That's awesome.
And again, this is one of those stories where the guy, by all rights, should have been shot and killed on that Pennsylvania highway. But instead, he's here for his daughter, he's here for his wife, he's here for his son. I don't know if there's any story I could tell you that tops a story like that, where you're not only helping save a guy's life, because he will tell you he believes Camp Hope saved his life. And now people ask him, isn't that the coolest thing ever? I thought, yeah, but I mean, it does get better. He's not only alive, but he's being the husband he's supposed to be. He's being the father he's supposed to be. And he's impacting hundreds of lives through his work at Camp Hope. Like, it's way more than just saving his life.
Yeah, man, that's powerful. That's really wonderful too, because getting his family back, not just his life, but his family back too, that's great.
Well, there's hundreds of studies have been done about the fatherless home and what that does to communities, not just to the family, but to communities. It's like, well, okay, so if you can save that life and restore it in a healthy manner back into its home, man, that's a community impact. That's not just an individual impact. That's a community impact. And we get to see things like that happen around our place quite regularly and often.
Myself didn't have a father like in the home. I had a lot of male role models though, in spades across every spectrum. And it was, I'm thankful for every single one of them all the time, because they stepped up when they did not have to.
Well, I can tell you that story. First, personal, like, yeah, I could have been, an orphan and all that stuff. Not my story, thank God.
Yeah, that's wonderful then. So for all the veterans watching this right now at home, or people at home watching this, how do you think they should go about getting help in your mind? Like, those that either feel like they aren't able to get help, or just don't know.
Sure. Well, first of all, they've got to figure out their own way to overcome their pride. That's always the number one issue from guys or women, overcoming their hesitancy to ask for help. The suck it up and drive on mentality has been driven home deeply, and it's really difficult for many to overcome that. You got to find a way to do that. I think the beauty about what we do in our program, and it's not just Camp Hope. So we have an outreach team here in Houston that runs support groups outside of Camp Hope. We're in a few places across the country, across the state. We do groups virtually. In fact, we just started a virtual group that's exclusive for female veterans. But in those outside support groups, you don't necessarily have to be a combat veteran. Just a veteran who served. Well, in that, you are in a group, whether it's in person or the virtual groups. You're in a group with everyone who has shared experiences, putting on the uniform, taking the uniform off, all that comes along with both of those and whatever happens in between. you're walking into a situation with others who've gone through the same thing you have. And we have seen that it does help and makes things a little easier. It's not an easy path,
No.
but you don't have to do it alone. It's rare that someone is able to do it alone. I mean, it's extremely rare. So find some brothers, some sisters to lean on, people that are a little further down the road and dealing with this than you are, and learn from that. There's nothing that compares to that. But it's like when you got to put the bottle down, whether it's a prescription bottle or a bottle you're drinking, whatever it is, put the bottle down and just pick up the phone and call us. When you call our trauma line, a combat vet answers the phone. It's not a psych or someone just reading answers off a screen. This is someone who's put the uniform on, taken it off, and dealt with everything that happened in between. You got to make the call. At some point, you've got to make the call.
Yeah, and with that, let's see here. I have the line right here. Yeah, I have the line right here because it's on y'all's business cards too.
PTSD or 877-717-7873.
Yeah,
I've probably
exactly
given that
that.
number out verbally about 500,000 times in the last 17 years.
And since you said it's not like a regular person answering the phone, like on most of the hotlines, think that it's actually a combat veteran who's been through something themselves, and they actually can assess and help you. And then with that, are they when they do the lines? Because I've had to call hotlines before, I have, and they don't give you a lot of viable options, like ways to work through it or anything like that. They're just like, "I'm here for you" and everything like that. And then say somebody's on the line, they're over the edge, and like, how do they pull them back? When having someone that's actually been through that is like such a great thing, man. And that's something I'm really glad that y'all have in place.
We get a little bit of everything anytime you have a trauma crisis kind of line that's answered 24/7. You get a little bit of everything, but we've had guys call from the Houston area, and whoever's on that, we call it the bat phone around our place, whoever's on the bat phone that particular day or night, they're getting out their personal phone and they're texting, hey, who's in what part of town, and can get to a guy who's threatening. And we've done that many, many times.
Okay.
Or, whatever we have to do to try to get to somebody. And our goal is always, let's find a way to get them through the night. And whatever's got them all amped up today, let's get them through the night. And in the morning, we can kind of, what got you there and how do we keep you from getting there again?
Yeah. So y'all's network, not just for Camp Hope itself, y'all actually work thoroughly throughout the Houston area or any area that you have enough people to actually say, hey, if you're willing to help, can we call for you to help get this guy or this lady off the edge here and there? Like, y'all actually keep networking, keep the conversation, keep the communication open, and make sure you're here for everyone.
We had a guy, forget it was a family member that had reached out. I don't remember if it was a parent or a sibling or a spouse. I don't remember. But somebody was really scared about a particular vet somewhere in Kansas. And as soon as we got that call, this guy was concerned. We didn't have anybody in Kansas. And at the time, we didn't have anybody in Dallas. We have a team in Dallas now. But we had one of our guys get in his truck, left Houston. It was 10 o'clock probably at night, got to Kansas at 8 or 9 in the morning. Took him about 4 or 5 hours to find the guy, but we found him.
Good.
So, yeah, we have some of those stories too. Just, where is he? Let's go find him.
Yeah. Why don't y'all have like more compounds? Y'all are able to, because y'all keep doing that. Like, not compounds, but
no, I know
like
what you mean.
areas.
Yeah. So, for instance, we're in Tampa, Florida. We're in Atlanta. Okay. When we set up an outreach center like that, like in Tampa, I think we have 5 staff members in Tampa, but we have 250 veterans. It's just terminology I think people understand, on our rolls, as you would say. 250 veterans that those 5 are trying to help right? So just do the math on that. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's rough.
Yeah.
Plus, they got to do. We try to do as much fundraising from here as we can for them, but they've got to do part of that. They've got to be the people that goes and sit in somebody's office. It's not an easy thing that we do. Now, our hope is
No.
eventually we want to get to a place where we have somebody within a 2-hour drive, no matter where they call from. Now, that's obviously
That's
very
future.
large country, a lot of
Yeah.
space, but we want to get there. If we come across a billionaire that drops some money on, we can kind of speed some of that up. It's we got a $12 million budget this year for our entire organization. About half of that's roughly Camp Hope, and half of it's everything else. But it's a heavy lift. I'll just tell you, we want to be everywhere. We're going to get there as fast as we can and not lose our culture. And
Okay.
that's kind
That's
of the
good.
struggle. How fast can you grow and not lose your culture? Because what we do, the way we do it, nobody else does it like we do.
No,
And we don't
not that
want
I've
to lose
seen.
that. We
Yeah.
do not want to lose that.
Yeah. I hope you never lose it, because what you're doing is leaps and bounds above most of the other ones, because you're actually there. You're in there getting your hands dirty, like you like to say earlier. You're in there getting your hands dirty, making a difference in like directly, not just from far away. You're actually trying to be present with everything you do, and that's what I love about. So for everyone that is not a veteran and wants to help and that don't have the funds, how do they actually help that? Is it just spreading the word, or what would you like for that in your own words?
Yeah, well, there are endless opportunities to get involved. And really, part of it is just, how creative are you? Right? Because sometimes we have companies come in, they've heard about us through whatever means. They love the veteran idea. How can we help veterans? So come out, we'll take a tour, we'll show them what's going on. While they're on our campus, they get to see everything, right? So you can see, well, that fence could use some help. That flower bed needs some weeding. They can see certain things, but there are a lot of volunteer opportunities, and some are like that. We had a crew out at Camp Hope today working on repairing some busted fence pieces.
Yeah.
Had a group out yesterday doing some prep for an event that's coming up Saturday. So they're getting things ready for the event. We've got a whole another group of volunteers that are volunteering at the event. So there's a lot of those kind of things where people can get involved, but the awareness side is like the easy piece today with social media on Facebook and X and on YouTube. We're PTSD USA. So just like our website, PTSD USA. So if you're on any of those three platforms, you follow us, you friend us, whatever, and share it, retweet it, that takes you what, like half a second to hit the button.
Oh, yeah. Less than
And
that.
you never know who might see it. So we've had people that's how I was talking to a guy just 3 or 4 days ago that, how did you hear about us? And he said, well, I was scrolling through my Instagram and I saw PTSD Foundation of America. So I started looking at it. I'm like, hey, I might need to talk to these people. And, months later, he's coming into our program because he realized it was something that could help his life. So you never know. I mean, but that's free. It costs you absolutely nothing to do that, including, doesn't even really cost you time. Just push the button,
Yeah.
and there it goes.
Yeah.
So
So
those are probably easy ways to get involved.
yeah, you mentioned that, and I got a notification from PTSD Foundation of America Camp Hope last week for tomorrow. That's something y'all have going on tomorrow. I was like, they actually use social media. I'm all
Yeah.
about
Well,
it.
see, yeah, and back to the whole volunteer thing. So some of that is on campus, and we got a group that comes out like every Wednesday and does some basic stuff. But there are so many. We were part of organization wide over 400 events last year. Now,
Okay.
some of those were just one of the staff going to speak somewhere, but there's, probably 12 to 15 golf tournaments that go on in Houston or somewhere across the country where we're beneficiaries of that. A lot of those need volunteers. You mentioned you're in the Houston area. We're in the Houston area. We're in crawfish season.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a group that first part of March, They moved it back this year. First part of May, they do a massive crawfish boil. In
Okay.
fact, 2017, I think they had Guinness Book of Records out, and they set a world record. I think they boiled 52,000 pounds of crawfish in a 6-hour period. Yeah, so to any of your followers that
Yeah.
like crawfish, like you can come and volunteer for us, and that means you're going to do something for 2 hours that day. But the rest of the time, it's a 6-hour window where it's literally all you can eat crawfish, and there's 60 some crawfish teams cooking out there. You can try all 60 of them if you want to. I don't know if you could eat that much crawfish, but the point
I mean,
is,
I can
there,
put some away.
yeah, there are events like that where it's a lot of fun. You can volunteer, put in a 2 hour, you're helping move trash or whatever. But the rest of the time, you just get to have fun. And
Yeah.
because they'll have 12 to 15,000 people at this event. It's
Okay.
massive, but it's also a lot of fun, and it
Yeah.
raises awareness. So you get to be involved, but you also get to have some fun while you're doing it.
That's fantastic. Oh, Lord.
And
Let's see
eat
here.
well. I happen to like crawfish.
I like crawfish. I like crawfish too. I was like, oh, that's in May. Let me put it on my calendar real quick.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we answered all of those, wrapped up. Cool. Yeah. So you want to get it to where you can have Camp Hope actually grow more and actually have it outreach even more. What does that actually look like to you? Like if you had, like, let's just say like 2 or 3 billionaires just drop it on you and just like, all right, y'all, I like what you're doing. Let's do this. Like what would you like it to look like?
So there's a couple things we really want to do much sooner rather than later.
Okay.
So one of those things is in our program, once you complete the program, we have what we call our green phase, which is you complete the program, but you have no place to go. You don't have a credit line that's good. You don't have any money saved up. You can stay in our green phase and continue to live there for free, be a part of the program, but also you can be starting a new career, so gaining income, or,
Okay.
GI Bill, and you're gaining some income going to school, until you have the ability to be able to put money down as a deposit for an apartment and, for electricity and all that stuff. We would like to move that off of campus, kind of the halfway house kind of thought, just to help people understand where we're going. Still a safe location. We'd have staff there. But we'd like to be able to do that, freeze up beds on Camp Hope for the guys who are in crisis. The other thing we would like to do is we are launching right now a concerted effort to really go after and support our female veteran population.
Okay.
The need is there. The numbers obviously are not anywhere near what it is in the male population of the veteran. But the PTSD percentage in the female veteran is much higher than the male.
Yes.
But there's just so many less number of female vets. But still, where do they have to go? What programs
Exactly.
are out there that are even close to ours? So we want to deal with that. We also want to go after our first responders and law enforcement, because many of them, the numbers are very similar in the law enforcement and first responders that is in the veteran community. No one's really doing anything for them. There are very, very few programs, intensive programs, and most of those are even 2 or 3 weeks long. We want to do better than that for our first responders and law enforcement. So those are some things that right now we're currently looking for property. Where can we find the right spot for the right price and be able to start moving on some of these things? So those are things that we know we want to do, and we want to do them very quickly. The female veterans, law enforcement, first responders, and then kind of the halfway house kind of concept for the guys in our program, a safe place to step off of that 5-acre campus,
Okay.
but still a level of safety and accountability while they're in transition, moving forward with their life. Those are some things we're working on trying to figure out right now. So yes, if you happen to come across a billionaire or two, we would love to have a conversation with them.
I would send them your way. So with that, have you all thought about, for the ones that are stable and do have the financial means and everything to take care of themselves and their family, have you thought about some aspect of like doing service dogs at all related to them? Because that kind of helps sometimes too.
Yeah, and here's where we do a lot of networking. I would just say we kind of have our niche of what we do. We believe we do it better than anybody else in the world.
Okay.
We genuinely believe that, and I know that sounds arrogant. Doesn't I'm
Yes.
not meaning it that way.
Yeah.
We've seen and talked to so many different groups doing so many different things, and we look at our numbers, and I'm like, man, I wish somebody else would step up and do what we do. No one's done it
No.
yet. It's a daunting task, but I don't think anybody does it any better than we do. I really don't. So what we try to do is, this is our thing. This is what we do, and we want to do it, and we want to be better at it. We're constantly reassessing. How can we do better? What can we learn from this situation? How can we improve this? But with that said, we we want to we want to continue to do what we do and do it the best we possibly can. So we do a lot of networking. This can be a help. Like we have equine therapy that takes place on our campus, and we have uh, off-campus equine therapy.
Okay.
We don't do it. We just network with people who do. So when it comes to things like that, when it comes to service animals, whatever it may happen to be, we're not going to take our bandwidth. We're hardly even scratching the surface of what's going on with PTSD. We want to continue to deepen that and broaden that.
Okay.
So we want to network with other people who want to help and let them do their thing while we do our thing. And that's
Okay.
kind of how we would look at something like that. Like, yes, I get it, man. There's some guys that they're 100% down on that. Like service animals, whatever. Great.
Yeah.
Here's some people that do that and are trying to do it in a positive and healthy way. So let's partner with them and let's
Okay.
help whatever it is to help our veteran. We want to do it.
That makes sense. It's just a question that we were sitting back thinking about, like, service dogs
Yeah.
do help, especially like for those that, because people think it's just like it's a crutch. No, it's because some people, when they get to these stages and they get overwhelmed or get like tired, or they say, I'm done with everything, that teaches them also a way to actually just have love come back into their life. Because most animals, they teach you that unwavering love, not that you can get it no matter what. You've seen my dog come up here, like, even though I wasn't addressing him, he's just like, I just want to be here and let you know I'm right here for you no matter what, bud. Always.
Yeah. Well,
So
and here's the thing, you mentioned the word crutch, and I've heard people
mm,
use that before. And I just say, you know what? Sometimes you need a crutch. There's nothing wrong
yeah,
with that.
yeah,
You hope you don't need it forever, but if you
exactly.
do, here's the thing I've seen though with service animals, man, that relationship, you talk about a tight relationship, that's tight. Now, I'm a dog lover. I've had dogs my entire life. Um, and, you know, love those dogs, loved every one of them. But you're a service animal,
Hmm.
that takes it to another level. Well, then they lose the service animal. Man, I've
Exactly.
seen
The
guys
loss.
spiral really fast and really deep.
Yeah.
And that's like, okay, well, somebody needs to know, you know, but I've seen that too. So, that's a moment compared to, the lifespan of the animal. So you got to figure that out, but you got to hopefully help work with that veteran to be prepared for that
Yeah.
because it's going to happen. Just like it's going to happen to all of us. None of us are going to
Yeah.
live forever. So you
Yeah.
got to make plans and provisions for things like that.
Absolutely. But that's why I always say be mindful, because even though I had my doggo for a couple years, I know that one day it will happen. I don't want it to, but when we have something we love, we never want it to die.
Mm-mm.
But it's always it's forever. It's gonna always be the same thing for everything. Everything eventually does die. So yeah, but yeah. Thank you so much, David. I appreciate it so much. Do you have any questions for me?
Man, just what took you so long to find us?
So honestly, I had a lot of things just thrown at me at once, and then I finally got it settled down. And then Podcast On invited me. He's like, "Hey, would you like to participate in the Podcast On?" And I'm like, "That's a first. Okay, let me see what it all entails. Maybe it's a scam. There's tons of scams going on, so maybe it's a scam." And I look it up. I was like, "This is for real." And then I sat down with them for their first meeting. It's like, "Okay, cool." And I said, "Does it have to be the ones on the list?" I'm like, "What? Can it be something I pick myself?" Yeah, whatever you want. Cool. Started researching. Me, Crow, my buddy Jimmy, all just started going everywhere. It's like, what do we want? What do I like? What goes to this? And they both looked at me like, you're big with PTSD, trauma, and everything like that. Why don't you just focus on that? It's like, he said, you're a veteran and you like helping all veteran causes. Like, I do. It's like, all right, cool. And they're like, what are you going to do first? I'm going to do my area first. So what? I'm going to look for mine, see if there's one I want to spotlight. Found one, came to find out they don't actually help actual day-to-day veterans. It was business-wise. Like, okay, cool. That's a good one to have on the back burner in case it doesn't happen. But let's look at this. Found Camp Hope. I was like, let's find out everything about Camp Hope right now. And we all just started digging and looking at it. We're like, why don't we know more about this stuff in the first place? It's like,
and I was just messing with you when I said that. We're grateful for the opportunity to share with your audience. I do want to congratulate you though, man. I got putting together a podcast and all that stuff. Like that microphone's super cool. I love that.
Oh, thank you.
But it's a lot of work. So I want to congratulate you for doing that. That's super cool. I hope it just explodes for you and everybody that's a part of it. I hope it's just a great success.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I wish nothing but the best for you. And I will look forward to whenever you can come out and see us. But we'll look forward to that. Just appreciate you, man. Because when you share part of your story and, some of the struggle coming home, loss of purpose and, so many things that happen.
Yeah.
You found your way. And I just want to say congratulations, man. I'm glad you did. And now here you are, doing what you can to support your fellow veterans. I love that. Yeah, I'm super happy for you. Wish you great success in what you're doing.
All right. I appreciate it so much, David. And you say found a purpose. Sometimes I feel that I have, and then sometimes I feel like it's not there yet. If that makes sense.
It does, sure. But
And
you'll find it.
I'm going to find it one way or another.
Yeah, you'll find it. I got confidence in that. You'll find it. You come through enough. You won't quit till you find it.
Exactly. But all right. Thank you again, David, for being here and sharing this mission with us and sharing your stories and sharing all these stories from Camp Hope itself. Everyone, if you're listening, thank you so much for partaking in this episode for the very first nonprofit episode for Podcast On. If you'd like to support PTSD Foundation of America or learn more about Camp Hope, all the links will be in the descriptions. Thank you so much for this opportunity. So for everyone who knows that this was really big for me because I did a lot of things to look into this, but everyone have a great one. Take care of yourselves. Remember, join the raid.